Hey, what is up, everybody? Can you hear me? Let me know. Sorry, I'm running a couple minutes late. I'm in a co-working space here today in downtown San Diego, and just wrapped up a meeting. And I am, new network, new environment, trying to get everything set up here. I think I've got it set up. I think I've got everything correct that you should be able to hear me, all that good stuff. But let me know in the comments. I would appreciate it. And let me switch up my. All right, I think I'm good to go. Let me know if you guys can hear me and see me. Awesome. Perfect. Awesome. What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me. Hello. Welcome. Awesome. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you had a fantastic holiday. I hope that you are off to a good start here to the new year. This is really my first full day back at work. So we will pick things up aggressively from here. And I'm sorry if there's anybody that's been waiting on me for anything, if I've been slow in getting back to you. That's because I've been slow in getting back to you. I've been taking time off. My daughter just went back to college yesterday. And so that was kind of the end of break for me. So I am back at it now. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. Let me just do a quick, trying to just really quickly here get this pulled up on YouTube on my iPad so I can see your comments more easily, and then we will get rolling. But this is office hours. You guys know how this works. Office hours is pure Q&A. I don't have any agenda for you otherwise. So please put your comments or your questions, into the comments here. And then I'm also going to share in a moment. So if you want to join me live on camera, you can do that as well. And we'll have a little conversation that way. So for anything that is more complex, anything that's got just something that we need to talk through more, then you can join me on camera and we can have a little chat about that. Okay, so let me just sorry, like I said, guys, all new network and all that stuff here, so it's just taking me a moment to get all set up. Oops. All right, I think I'm good. All right, cool. Thank you for your patience. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm going to start going through some questions here, and then we will get trucking. All right, I might have to give up on having my iPad on here as well. We'll see here. But I can see the comments here. Just a little bit harder to read. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. One, like I said, Happy New Year. I hope everybody got some good rest, got some good time with loved ones, all that good stuff, and that you are fired up and ready for the year. I know, man, I took a good chunk of time off and feel rested and ready to go. I like many people, it seems like around the country or even around the world right now, there is definitely like the respiratory crud and flu going on out here. And I had like a solid month of fighting that, which is just unusual for me. I just don't get sick. And so that was really frustrating. But I finally am past all of that stuff, and incredibly grateful that I am, because I feel like my old self and I'm raring to go a million miles an hour just in time for the new year. But family did a little bit of that stuff, and fighting the flu and all that. Had to take my mom into the ER while she was here visiting, so that was a bummer. But like I said, back up and running again, which is nice. So everybody's healthy now and raring to go. All right, let's go here. First question, Mike. New SaaS Go high level member through is January 1st. Awesome. Welcome. Welcome, Michael. Happy New Year. Photo looks like a younger version of you, MC 2.0. I'll take that, Matthew, as a compliment. I'm gonna try and find the compliment in there. Wondering what the most popular Go high level features are for the marketplace. Enrique, I think that you mean the marketplace as in, if you mean the marketplace as in just generally speaking, the marketplace of businesses that are out there and which ones finding most success with, that's a hard one because I think that it really depends on the niche and on the customer that you're selling to as to which ones they're going to find most popular. But I mean, if you look at just generally speaking, the tools that are in high level, when you say most popular, obviously email is going to be used by pretty much everybody. SMS is going to be used by pretty much everybody. I think calendaring is very well used. The conversations feature inside of high level, so the fact that you can interact with conversations with your prospects or your customers through a variety of different channels in one conversation view, I know is tremendously valuable to me. That's a big one, so you're not jumping around in all kinds of different channels trying to find out where people are communicating with you. For marketers, the funnel builder and the workflows so you can create automation is incredibly valuable. Would a typical small business owner find that as valuable? They may not know that it's valuable to them. They may not even be aware of it really, but it is valuable to them, but it may just be behind the scenes because you're setting up and managing it for them. Those are all like very core features of the system that are very important and I think pretty darn universal, to just about everybody that's working on the platform. But man, there's so many features now that I think, again, depending on the niche that you're selling to, that they could find, very valuable. Happy New Year from San Diego. Awesome. What's up, Scripps Performing Arts Academy? I love it. I need to come and see you. I've seen your name in here on the list a couple times, and I need to come and pay you a visit. What's up, Mauricio? Good to see you. All right, let's see here. Waiting patiently. Yes, y'all. That's right. Yes, y'all. Welcome, everybody. All right, let's see here. What's up, Adam? All right, let me see. I got to get to the questions. Everybody's responding to me, which was very nice. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, questions. Is Jocelyn on here? My old buddy Jocelyn. She's getting into the high level game. I think that she was going to join us today. I have a question about optimizing integrating KM with tech stack. Is KM knowledge management? I don't know, but let me go ahead and put in the link if you want to join me on camera. I'm going to go ahead and post that on the comments right now. So you can use that if you want to explain something in more depth to me. Okay. Brandon says, when we build our high-level business around your R4 framework, when is a good time or indication that we should consider bringing on team members, and in what capacity? Hire virtual assistants first. Okay, this is a fantastic question, Brandon. There is a lot that you can accomplish on your own because of the scalability that high level brings to your service delivery, and because you have, if you are selling to similar businesses, similar industries over and over again, you should get pretty darn efficient in what it is that you're offering to people. So you can take a snapshot, duplicate it, put it in place for a new customer, and get everything set up and kind of move on very quickly. But here's the deal. What you will quickly find out is any time spent not selling and not marketing is just taking money out of your pocket. right? Because you are not filling your pipeline, not closing deals. And so, it will very quickly become apparent to you that, if you're spending time doing the um, setup of the services for your customers, then that's time that you're not spending selling. So I would recommend, depending on your budget, okay, depending on your budget and depending on your goals to some extent, um, that you go in the following order. So, first, that you spend the time digging in, understanding high level, understanding the snapshots, the service delivery, the onboarding of customers to the point where you feel like, okay, I know how to do this. I've created a service that I'm happy with for my customers. And it's time to some degree pass the torch to somebody else to help me at least with 70% of what I've created. Okay. As a business owner in this market and in the first year of your business, you've got a plan on you are going to be intimately involved with understanding the details of your service delivery, improving the details of your service delivery. Um, if that's not your mindset, you're going to get burned. So even if you hire somebody to help you on all of the, the more technical stuff and setting up the snapshots and all that type of stuff, you should still expect that you have ownership of it, even if they're, you're a right hand person in getting it done. You mentally have ownership of it and you mentally keep connected enough to the details that you make sure that you're really driving progress in making that service what you want it to be. Okay. So you being hands on in it and the design of it from day one is important. And I think that as soon as then you have something in place, you've said, okay, I've created my initial snapshot that I'm going to be putting out there for customers. I've got a handle on how I'm going to onboard customers. If you have the budget to do it, at that point, I would get somebody like an Extendly involved, or it could be just a third party, just a contractor that is super familiar with HighLevel that you just hire out of the community or something like that. But getting them involved so that they can at least start taking some of the initial manual effort of getting a customer set up and supporting the installation of a new customer and stuff like that and the onboarding of the new customer. They can at least start taking some of that off of your plate. Okay. A company like an Extendly is going to have a real nice set of kind of best practices and stuff like that for working with you and working with your customers that you can easily just kind of piggyback off of. So that's probably going to save you some headaches versus if you hire your own independent contractor, you're going to probably have to teach them some of that stuff and maybe a little bit harder to get up to speed with them. The benefit is that you may get more of a custom, situation with them because they are working, just with you. But I would get somebody like that working for you that you can at least start to, again, make that transition to offloading some of the basic work of setting up a new customer to somebody else. Just to get time efficient around sales. And then I would say, and again, this is totally dependent on your budget, your risks, your appetite for risk, your goals for what you want to build. But I'll just tell you how I have done it is that I always hire a operations person who is my right hand man on doing the service delivery, on taking ownership and making sure the customers are happy, on onboarding them correctly, on just all the administrative stuff around that, on making sure that they really understand HighLevel and how to use it every day and they're keeping up with the latest updates and all that. I hire that person before I feel like I'm actually ready. And there's some stress to that because you will financially feel maybe like you're not ready and that you don't have enough work for them to do and all that good stuff. And it can create a little bit of panic. But I have found that by doing that, you stay a little bit ahead of the curve. And that person, you've now got this like pretty full-time person who is helping to take ownership of that whole service setup and design and delivery process, that things will just start moving faster. right? They're going to help you get better faster because now they're looking at this stuff full time, whereas you need to be doing sales and marketing. So, that's going to create urgency, especially like when the first time I did that, guys. Look, I'm telling you right now, the first time I did that, I was dead broke, up to my eyeballs in debt. I had a new kid on the way. I mean, I could barely afford to eat, and I hired somebody, and I was scared shitless. And what that did is it made me get up and sell every damn day because I was scared shitless. Being scared shitless when you're an entrepreneur is a pretty good thing. I mean, it is. It may not feel good at the time, but it creates that urgency that you need to build a business, which is, you need that urgency. So I would personally, that would be my approach. Now, again, depending on your appetite for risk, you may want to say, hey, Mike, I'm not hiring somebody like that until I've got, enough money in the bank to pay their salary for 6 months. I know some people who don't hire anybody until they have enough money in the bank to pay that person for a year. That's their entrepreneurial risk tolerance. Okay. I have never taken that approach. I've taken the approach of, man, if I can cover this person's pay for the next 60 days, I'm hiring and I'm selling. You've got to figure out what you're comfortable with, and there's no right or wrong answer there. I just think being more aggressive on it personally has paid off, and I recommend that you try and be as aggressive as you're comfortable with. And then you, from that point forward, you have decisions to make as to where you put your resources that are probably primarily dependent on your goals as to whether or not you're trying to build a lifestyle business or like a faster growth business, trying to build something that's going to have like equity that you can sell at some point versus just, hey, I want to get this thing to $50,000 a month and just be able to live a nice, cushy existence. And it also probably depends on your personal skill sets and preferences for where you want to spend your time. So as an example, the second person I hired then was another salesperson. I wanted somebody who was just prospecting all day long, just like hitting the phones, going to network, all that type of stuff all day long. So the very next person I hired was another salesperson. Even though I was doing sales, I was like, I want to be focused on more strategic growth of the business and doing marketing of the business, and yes, doing sales, but I wanted somebody who was like hitting the phones 24/7, like that I couldn't be spending all my time doing that. So I hired a salesperson. Some of you may say, no, I've got the sales thing covered. I'm just going to sell, but I need now another person working on the service team underneath that first person that I hired to start making my service, even better, more scalable, just like a junior person to help them. I don't think that there's a right or wrong there. And typically the way these businesses grow is that you're going to end up with like a salesperson and then like 4 service people, like that's kind of what the balance looks like. Could be even a salesperson, like 6, service people type of thing. So which one of those you hire first, kind of up to you again on how aggressive you want to be on getting sales going, or how aggressive you want to be on making your service like as dialed in and tight as possible, and where you want to spend your time and things like that. So I hope that helps you. Again, there's not necessarily a right or wrong on which of those decisions you make in terms of what to invest in and what to invest in first, things like that. But that's the way that I've approached it. Okay. Let's see here. Why don't we get Mike? I think you were first. You want to come on and join me?
Good.
How you doing, sir?
Good. Happy New Year's to you.
Thank you. You too. How can I help you?
So I've been kind of following you and really using Go HighLevel for just under a month now. So just signed my first 2 clients yesterday. Have another 3 that are going to sign up on Monday. I'm
Good man. I love to hear it.
I'm focusing on the real estate sector and finding that there's a very strong value proposition. My question is, how have you seen people stack value on top of Go HighLevel? So the tool is just the tool, but there's additional stuff where you can start to get upwards of 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 as a scalable offering without requiring additional time. and
Mhm.
really using that, their Hormozy, make them an offer so ridiculous they feel stupid saying no. What have you
Yeah.
seen?
Yeah, sure. So typically, I would say that so the way I think about this in terms of structure, just in terms of buckets, is you got the tools, assets, services, and leadership is the way I think about it. Okay. So you got the tool, the assets on top of that would be things like funnels, campaigns, right? So
Mhm.
those are, workflows, automations, all that good stuff. That would be the assets that you build that you would layer on top of the tools. Those alone are incredibly valuable, and depending on how good of a job you do in terms of packaging them up, naming them, pitching the value proposition of them, any demonstrable proof that you can show, hey, we've got this such and such funnel that you put a lead in there and it's going to convert, and here's the ROI on it, across 50 different customers, like any of that type of thing. um, that alone can absolutely be enough to get those price points up to what you're talking about. Okay, so assets and then services. Services are, again, in most cases, this is where some time is added in. Not in all cases, but typically this is where you're going to add some sort of human component to say, hey, look, not only do we have the system or the tools and assets for you, but we're going to help manage those tools and assets for you, and make sure that the campaigns go out on time, that your newsletter gets put together, whatever it is, to take some of that load off of them. So that's a very common and very straightforward way to get the price point up. And then leadership is what I mean by that is more coaching, um, and that type of service. So maybe you've got a group coaching call every week for all of your real estate agents, where it's like, hey, here's the current best practice on how to do XYZ in your marketing, and we've set most of it up in the system for you, but here's how to go about it. And we got superstar agent in here to give a 20-minute summary on how they're doing it and having great success. So just access to that type of material, content, um, can be a great way to raise the price point as well. So those are the three big buckets in terms of how I think about it.
Okay.
And again, especially those first two, the assets and the services, the management services, are very straightforward ways to be able to bump up that value proposition. Does that make sense?
It does. And so, working with Extendly, for example, would you offer that as part of your base package, or would you have that as an upgrade?
Um, it depends on the price points of your base package. And when you say offer externally, do you mean like their support, like access to their support and being able to contact their team 24/7 for support, or what are you referring to?
Well, I think that they have a number of additional services, like they've got that AI engine built in, and just
Mhm.
um, it's almost offering a bit of the services component without it being required for my hours to be dedicated to providing the services. Because I
Yeah.
agree, that blend between the tools, the service as a system, and the more traditional agency model. I want to be able to offer some of those agency model type things, those higher value dollar ticket items, but I don't want to
Yep.
be trading time for money. I've done the consulting world.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not fun.
Yep.
I want to get away
Good for
from it,
you. Yeah.
but I want
Everybody
to be able
listen to
to,
Mike.
yes, get away from the
Yeah.
tool.
So,
There's no value in the
yep.
tool. Get away from the consulting. It will kill you. Stick in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's why I
Yeah.
love your approach here,
So
Mike.
cool. So the one thing I will say is there is value in the tool. So I don't want to say there's no value in the tool. It's just that you don't want to sell just the tool, because then you're undifferentiated, right?
That's
And you're selling to people who probably don't even know how to use the tool in many cases. Um, so the tool itself is super valuable. And so when you say which package would you include it in, I think that we should all have a base package that includes reputation and resell, if you go by my 4 R's, and load that up with those reputation and resell features, because that can be almost entirely tools, assets, and automation based. So very easy to stay away from any sort of labor, in those two categories. So you want that because not all customers are going to sell up at the higher price points. And two, if somebody at some point wants to cancel or downgrade their services, it's a great thing for you to be able to downgrade to that package because you're still keeping the customer and you're keeping a real nice high margin recurring revenue automated, service package. So in that case, you probably though don't have the price point and the margins to be able to offer some of those other bells and whistles that you're talking about. So I would then have my 497 and 697 options, and or whatever your higher price points are, that or 997 or 1500 or whatever it is that you're looking to do. That's where I would bake in some of those more advanced services that I'm paying Extendly to provide.
And then my other question is, in your experience, what's a realistic target of being able to manage as a small company a number of users? Can you get up to 100, 500, 1,000? Like, where's the breaking point where it just becomes overwhelming, where people move away from, go high level or kind of the model we're talking about, and it needs to be more of a traditional business?
Okay, so just to make sure I understand what you're asking, you're saying your customer, like if your customer outgrows your solution and using HighLevel, or
No, if I get to the point where I have 500 real estate agents, or
yeah.
like what is realistically a goal to target, saying like, hey, if I hit 500 customers or 100 customers, like you're absolutely killing it? Or are people doing like 1,000 customers and go high level or more?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. There are people doing way more than 1,000 customers and go high level. Yeah, no,
Okay.
there's no practical. I mean, there's no practical limit to the upside for you that you need to worry about. Like, I don't think you're going to hit like 2,000 customers and go, oh, the system just doesn't support me, growing that big. Um, but in terms of what you should consider success, I mean, obviously that's based on your goals and what you're trying to achieve. But if you have, I think, 100 customers, on your system that you're getting recurring revenue from every month at, those base packages, I think you're well on your way to, like, to me, that's a real solid, like, you've demonstrated that you have something to offer, a big enough marketplace, you have a customer acquisition system, you have a customer retention system, like all of that seems to be working. I would consider that you're in a real good spot. And, now it's just a matter of putting more gas on the fire and growing, right? But yeah, like Brittany mentioned, Funnel Gorgeous. I mean, there's plenty of providers out there using HighLevel that have thousands of customers.
Yeah.
So
The reason I ask is
you
when I
got
was speaking to support yesterday, they said, I haven't seen anything over 100. And I thought that seemed unrealistic. I'm like, 100 seems pretty low. Surely someone has done more. So that's really where my question came from.
gosh, no. I mean, I can Gene. I cut out there for a second. That was our when I launched Follow Genius, which is the white label version I partnered up with Billy Jean right out of the gate. I want to say day one we brought on almost 2,000 customers. I think was the number. So whoever's giving you that information was way off.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
In 2000,
Yep.
how did you do 2000 day one? Like, how did you do that?
Because we have lists. We have existing lists. So did a big Billie Jean style webinar, and made an offer, and we had thousands of people on the webinar, and we did that 4 times over the next month. So
And just one more question. How come you decide to do the affiliate model versus the business model as a choice?
I'm doing both, but I am working. I've been working with agencies for a dozen years now, and
Okay.
so I don't. There are people out there who are putting agencies onto their system rather than getting you onto HighLevel directly. I think that that's a big mistake for your business. I think that they're doing you a big disservice by doing that. So I am only working with agencies, getting them onto HighLevel directly. So affiliate model. because I think if you guys are serious about building your business, you need to have a direct relationship with HighLevel. You need to be setting up your own accounts, setting up your own sub accounts, learning to use the system. So that's my approach, and I think it's the right approach for your business. That's
okay. So you're doing both. You haven't just cut off one of them. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Appreciate your help.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you,
All right,
Mike.
thank you.
And
All
congrats
right,
on those first customers. That's awesome.
thank you. More to come. Now I know 100 is not the ceiling.
Yeah. Oh gosh, no. You got lots of upside. So Jocelyn is in the house. What's up, Joss? Good to see you. Let's see here. All right, Mike, I'm gonna remove you here. And then Ryan. How you doing, sir?
Mike, good to see you meet you. I just found you, so to speak, quite recently, and it's been a really fun week, just kind of soaking up the videos and the HighLevel stuff. So
awesome.
I'm a bit
You've seen too much of me then over the last week.
No, it's been great. It's sort of like a lot of things, putting more specific, articulating them well, and putting frameworks on them, sort of as I've slowly got into, trying to enact that kind of stuff. And so I'm fairly new to being an entrepreneur. I was laid off. Always was trying to get on this path. Won't go too much into my story, but forced into entrepreneurialism, and I'm sort of avoiding interviewing and being back on the W-2 side. So I was a practicing
Congratulations,
lawyer.
and I hope I can help you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obsessed, and I can't sleep. I can't eat. I'm sort of like, the excitement is nonstop, and it's been like this for 6 months. But sometimes I do have a tendency to try to boil the ocean and sort of think through and plan. I love what you just mentioned too about hiring and not necessarily having income to support that. And so little things like that, to hear that you did that and do that, it was sort of like, yeah, that's like, you can do it too. So I'm kind of in that boat with hiring and bringing on some ops and salespeople. I come from, was a practicing lawyer, and then I became a consultant to kind of help legal departments be operationalized and more efficient. And long story short, we couldn't sell the product I had made, and my eyes were open into all the skills it takes to kind of sell and market, lead gen. And so I was like on the phone with our marketing department nonstop, almost like, man, I want to be a marketer. This is awesome. We can kind of go and like strategize and actually go create and find business.
That's cool.
And so I won't go too much further, but only to lay a little bit of context of my question. I went full time into video production and editing. I was just trying to stack as many marketing skills as I could, because I thought my process was, I want to learn how to do it so then I can operationalize and productize it and sort of create systems. And then of course, teach that to folks and kind of step out of the role of actually doing. So perfect timing in kind of meeting your content in terms of services that scale, because I was getting bogged down a little bit with actually doing the work, because I actually do like the marketing side of video editing and a bunch of other things. So all that says, I'm new to HighLevel. And so if the answer, feel free to cut me off on my question if the answer is just dig deeper into the HighLevel web of functionality. But my initial question was, as I was doing it outside the HighLevel context and even outside the agency context of figuring out a way to systematize work, creating standard operating procedures around that, and then try to automate everything possible, and then sort of integrate that into a system that I can train people on and say, hey, ClickMinded being a perfect example of adding to ClickMinded, but using that as a basis, automating, and then trying to get people to learn that system of a way of doing things. And so I guess my question is, and again, if this is a HighLevel focused call, I won't, even though it's sort of a independent question, but that's what
this is
okay.
Yeah, this is open to whatever.
Okay. And so the idea of building tech stacks, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. I'm sort of become obsessed, and ChatGPT is really fun with like, build me multiple tech stacks and create alternatives and discuss why one is better than the other, how they integrate, how they scale, all that good stuff. And again, so HighLevel, I guess, is an example of that sort of. But do you find that in your business, as you create these productized and create operational models and scale, that you're constantly sticking with sort of one core tech stack that you can train and teach on? Or are you always sort of pivoting, evolving, and are different tech stacks for you better for different business models? And I'll leave that question there. Keep it kind of simple.
Yeah. So it's a great question, and I have a lot of clarity on this, because prior to this world, I used to run an IT management company. That was my first business that I built and sold. And I am even though I am not a technology guy, as in I can't do a thing, I can't code a thing or anything like that, I am a total technology nerd when it comes to loving how technology can make us more productive and using it in my life. I have all the tech gadgets and try and get more efficient and productive with them and stuff like that. So what I have learned both for myself and for customers is that you've really got to know yourself, you've really got to know the customer and what it is that they are going to be willing and able to adopt. And so at what point or another are you spinning your wheels if you're spending too much time trying to innovate and improve? So if you're selling to the Fortune 500, then the Fortune 500 wants to be and has the budget to be and has the team to be on the bleeding edge. And so they want you to be innovating and looking for the next great thing that you can integrate in all the time and take things to the next level. If you're selling to small businesses, the bleeding edge is bleeding. It's dangerous, it's risky, it's expensive. And so small businesses don't need to be anywhere near the bleeding edge. And if anything, they are so far behind the bleeding edge that trying to get them there, you're just, in most cases, just absolutely wasting your time. And so when you're building your tech stacks, you are generally really operating with the 80-20 principle. Like, hey, I'm not going to have everything just right. Not everything's going to work perfectly well the way I would love it to if it were my ideal scenario. But I'm still moving the needle so much for my customers and helping them so much. And I'm doing it at the right price point, the right ease of use, all that stuff. That's where you need to kind of stop and not spend too much of your energy at that point and then trying to solve problems that really don't exist. So if you define, hey, what is the core functionality that my customer needs from this system, and you're able to get that core functionality in place, you're able to get it integrated so that it's speaking with each other, it's usable, all that type of stuff. At that point, I'm really only investing time in trying to then find a new thing or an upgraded thing or whatever. Very rarely a small percentage of my time, and only because there's some breakthrough innovation that really takes things to the next level from a performance or cost perspective. But that's every few years, maybe something like that comes along historically. With AI, who knows? Maybe that's every few months because things are going to be changing so fast. But I do have to say, as much as I'm obsessed with AI, I think like there's guys out there right now saying that they're building AI agencies and they're kind of selling the programs to build AI agencies. That's a perfect example to me of small businesses are so far away from any sort of cutting edge technology. Like, just go find small businesses right now that have opt-in forms that work on their website or that have call tracking. I mean, it's maybe going to be 5% of small business websites that you come across, right? So like trying to go too far too fast with them is usually just a complete waste of time. So that's kind of how I think about it. And depending on the specific customer base that you're working with, you may be a little more aggressive than me, or maybe even less aggressive than me. And it's just kind of a judgment call and getting to know those customers.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Last question. Yeah, perfect. Last question. I won't take up too much more of your time, but as far as if someone were to look behind the hood of the various businesses you've constructed on sort of like the service delivery model, do you like HighLevel being a perfect example where your users and folks could actually deliver the service using that? How often are you kind of constructing, hodgepodge collections of, just Slack connected to, some knowledge management system, or, is it clunky behind the scenes? What I should say is, does it get very complex, or are you kind of keeping it straightforward with how you make sure people that are actually delivering the service have sort of a path to do it?
Well, so with HighLevel now, it's as integrated as it's ever been by far. And I believe, and this may be a controversial position, but I am adamant that I'm right. I believe that almost every single one of you on this call or in my community or selling to small businesses should be doing everything that you possibly can to sell around HighLevel and just keep everything on HighLevel and keep it as simple as possible, even if that means that you are reducing some of the capabilities of your services. And the reason why I say that is two. One, because you will make up in scalability way more than you will lose by not having that extra perfect feature to offer. I'm convinced of it in 99% of the cases. And then two, when you go to sell your business at some point in the future, if you don't have a hodgepodge of stuff, it's going to be much easier to sell, and the buyer is going to give it a better price tag when they look at it and go, oh, this is easy. Versus if you're cobbling together a bunch of stuff and using duct tape and baling wire to make things talk to each other, and I have to have 10 smart people on staff to understand what the heck you're doing. Now as a buyer, I start going, oh, this all looks risky and complicated, and the price starts coming down because of that. So I'm a huge believer at this point, with everything that HighLevel's built and all the value that they're building into the system. It's like, just like in the HighLevel, well, I'm a perfect example. The HighLevel email system has not had the ability to re-email non-opens on an email campaign. Has not had it. They're just about to roll it out. Finally, I've been asking for it for 3 years, and I have the business owner's ear. I can talk to Sean anytime, any day. He responds to my calls and stuff. I've been asking for it for 3 years. They're just now about to get it out. That annoys the heck out of me, but I'm still using the system as my email system every day, because I realize, man, there's so many other benefits of using the system that it's crazy for me to get too hung up on that one feature. It's the same thing when you're looking at your services for your customers, and it's like, man, if I'm trying to cobble together these things to solve these problems that aren't like really critical problems, I should probably just stick to just using a system. Now, just to answer that a little bit further, when I go back to my early days of building my IT management business, it was all duct tape and baling wire for like 2 years. I mean, behind the scenes, it was a freaking mess because there wasn't all these cool tools. There wasn't all these cool automation. I mean, we were like just on the beginning of some of the tools in IT getting developed and getting commercialized. And we were like pushing the envelope as hard as we could. And about 5 years into it, our business had figured out, oh, here's the tool that we can use to replace that duct tape and baling wire now. And the business got much more efficient and much more profitable year 5, year 6, year 7, year 8 because of that. So we knew that we were doing that, and we were investing aggressively in growth, knowing that we're going to have to try and solve some of these problems in some less than ideal ways. But that has cost to it. That has challenge to it that you really have to be ready to bite off if you're going to take that approach. Most people, I just don't think should. I think in this business, it's like, man, try and get all your customers on a high level. Put yourself in position where you've got one of two things. 3 years from now, everybody should be laser focused. One of two things. 3 years from now, either you've got a bunch of really automated cash flow coming in, and you're just happy as shit, right? Or two, you've got that and you're ready to sell it for a good chunk of money to somebody else, and you're happy as shit. But like, keep your business simple. Just focus on, I want $497 a month every month from these customers, coming in. I want to give them a value proposition that's good enough that they're sticking with me for years to come. You accomplish those things and you're in really good shape.
Well, I appreciate it. You'll see more of me. Really, really happy to be sort of connected now to the community and yourself. So I look forward to it.
Awesome. Likewise. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Brian, how are you, sir?
Hey, Mike. Happy New Year.
Hey, how are you? Happy New Year.
I'm doing well. Hey, sorry. You can hear me fine, right? I'm kind of in
Yep.
We're working from home today, so I'm same situation, not ideal conditions. Don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, all good.
Duct tape and bale wire.
Yeah.
Hey, so a few weeks ago, I kind of got on here and talked about using the kind of the foundation, acceleration, domination type playbook with my services, gamifying things and getting people to kind of getting customers to graduate through there and kind of stay engaged. One of the issues, and then there's a perfect question for you, I feel. Those those clients that aren't ready for paid ads, paid social media, paid Google ads, they struggle, I think because of my niche, but I know a lot of businesses struggle with it, the offer. Like, what is their offer? What is their unique selling proposition? And that plays a lot into the effectiveness of their success with the tools and their success with, running ads and traffic and things like that.
Yeah.
So played around with a couple of them and went through some exercises, SWOT type exercises, toes and flipping it around, having them do a competitor analysis, things like that. My thought was, okay, if this works for a couple of them, it helps them generate their own offer better, that it would benefit not only them as a business and help them be more successful, but then me as their, as their go-to, as their suite of services that they're looking for. Because, if they can afford me for longer, they stay with me longer, right? So a couple of those tools to do that, it worked real well, but it was real manual. It was me walking them through the process. And so my thought is to build that into a course, like a free course, that they would then have access to. I also have access to a couple of really cool people in my circle that would be willing to give me time and things like that to help possibly some one-on-one. First of all, did I kind of explain where I'm at with that in the thought process? And then what's your Yoda advice for that? What's your Yoda advice for me? And I'm really having that issue across the spectrum. So it's not just the lower tiered businesses, the younger businesses. It's some of the mature businesses as well, because I'm acquiring them from competitors and they're kind of flopping down. I'm not trying to rescue dying businesses. I'm not trying to do those types of things. I want them to progress. So what's the Yoda advice?
That's cool. Well, so can you tell me like what industry or what we're talking about here?
Absolutely. So home services more broadly, but narrowed down to cleaning businesses. That includes I'm heavily residential. I own a residential cleaning business, so I'm kind of tapped in that community. It was a natural transition. So barrier to entry for business owners there is literally, $50 of supplies from a Walmart and go for it, and then they grow and they kind of hit some ceilings. It's the cash flowing business, so there's a lot of attraction, like new people that are just like, hey, I want to run this remote or things like that. So there's various entry points, but residential cleaning heavily, only because that's where I existed. But commercial janitorial, exterior window washing. I've even taken carpet.
Cool. So let me just add. So the problem that you're trying to solve with these tools that you're offering kind of on that front end that you're saying, is it that you are helping them create an offer? You're helping them learn how to drive traffic into their offer, a combination of the two, one or the other?
So just to clarify, are you asking about what service I'm providing to them overall? Like
you're saying, just to make sure I understood,
just one problem.
Making sure I understand the challenge that you are solving and you're asking for the advice on. So you're saying that you're getting, let's say the customers have a system of marketing tools and CRM and all that type of stuff to use, but you were saying though that they have a hard time getting people into that system through advertising and stuff like that, right? Through understanding how to get people into the system. Is that correct?
Standing out. So they're experiencing higher costs of acquisition. And then, and so in order to help them drop that and create an overall strategy without me having to sit down with them and create a strategy for them. Is that better?
So here's what I would recommend. And this goes to, and this is a challenging one for people to accept and I think kind of figure out the boundaries of. But the Yoda advice is, don't expect that you can do too much to solve your customers' problems. and I hate to say that because I would love that we're all helping everybody become thriving business owners, making tons of money and living happy lives. Like that's the ultimate goal, right? It would be fantastic. But a lot of the businesses that you're working with, in spite of your best intentions, are not going to they're not going to capitalize on what you're trying to help them with when you're trying to help them with strategy and trying to just be better at marketing, better at getting attention, better at building a brand for their business. Like that's the type of stuff that if that business owner isn't internally really motivated and driven to do, they're not going to get there no matter what you do for them. And that's a tough one. I mean, as an example, I almost quit this industry a few years ago, period, doing training for agency owners. I almost just quit after 10 years in the space because I was so frustrated that people weren't like just getting shit done and taking advantage of the things I was trying to help them with. Like go. It like really bothered me. It would keep me up at night. And I finally just had to accept, X number of times a year, somebody in this community comes up to me and goes, Mike, you completely changed my life. And I just bought my mom a home. And, and then I was like, okay, that's enough. I'll do it another year. Right. But if you are manually spending your time helping individual businesses, these small businesses do that, your business will not grow. It will not scale. You don't have enough money. They don't have enough money to pay you for you to spend your time doing that with them. So the advice is you've got to turn this into a very scalable solution. And you've got to, unfortunately, a bit lower your expectations so that you don't go crazy. And so when I say a scalable solution, the good thing is because you are relatively focused and it's actually a simple niche. And when I say simple, I don't necessarily mean easy, but it's simple as in here are offers that work. They're proven. Look at Groupon offers and what are the direct response offers, get a free carpet cleaning for one room, right? I mean, that's an offer in the market that's worked, forever. So you can take those offers and you can build funnels around them, systems around them, ad campaigns around them, landing pages around them, all that stuff, and just give it to your customer and say, this is the model that works in this industry. We just need to follow this model. So you can do a lot of this for them rather than them having to create the strategy. Is just literally just give them the strategy and just say, this works in this marketplace, adopt it, and your business is going to do better. Now, a percentage of those customers then are going to want to take that to the next level. And that's where, when I was having the conversation with the gentleman earlier, where I was talking about the stages of the way I think about this. You've got your tools, your assets, your services, and then leadership at the top, right? Mm-hmm. Anybody who can get into position of leadership in a marketplace, that's always the best position to be in. That is the least commoditized position to be in. And so when you see, I'm sure you're familiar with Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels, right? He's got that, mastermind to join. That to join, you have to be doing $10 million a year, and you have to pay him $150,000 a year just to be in his mastermind. Well, that's the very top of his leadership pyramid. And so there are people in his audience that are saying, hey, Russell, I've bought all your books. I've gone through all your courses. I've done all that stuff, and I'm kicking ass now. But I know that there's another level to get me to. Well, I want access to Russell. And okay, well, you can do that. You just have to pay an arm and a leg and get into his mastermind. Below that, there's another kind of mastermind level that's not as expensive. And it's for people that are doing from $1 to $5 million a year, and it only costs $30,000 to be a part of it. And you're getting a less access to Russell, but still more than the general audience. And then below that, there's this big Funnel Hacking Alive event every year that you go to for 4 days of immersion with 5,000 other people. That's still only 5,000 out of his overall community of probably 500,000. So you're getting access to be able to take things to the next level. So with your customer base, you want to be able to deliver the message of, hey, look, we've looked at this industry. Here's what the top performers are doing. Mm-hmm. they've got these direct response offers. They've got, these campaigns going. We've set that all up into a system for you. Run the blueprint, right? You don't have to come up with your own strategy. We've analyzed the market. This is the strategy that's working. That's going to be plenty for 90% of your customer base. Then are there the 10% of the customer base that they're like, hey, look, that's all awesome, Brian. And we've kicked ass in San Diego here. But look, we're trying to build a super regional cleaning company. We want to take over, and so we need to take this to another level of content marketing, or whatever it is. That you may or may not want to mess with that. You may just want to say, hey, that's go hire a marketing consultant. That's not what I do, because that's not very scalable. It might take you out of your wheelhouse. There may not be enough customers like that out there that want to pay you for that type of thing, and so you may just not want to go there. You have to figure that out. But the answer with dealing with small businesses on that strategy front, you want to give them as much as you possibly can, boilerplate version of it, and say, when you look at the top performers in the market, here's what they're doing, and hand that to them as part of the system. Because if you're spending too much time going through strategy exercises with them and trying to get them to develop their own strategy, it's just, I'm just telling you right now, like the far majority of them are just not going to execute on that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which may not be what you want to hear, but
no, that's exactly what I wanted to hear, because that was, like I said, I kind of dipped my toe into it. I realized there was a problem there, common problem with them. I dipped my toe into a little bit. I was like, oh, this kind of hurts. I can either like templatize it basically, but productizing it and actually building those offers straight into the funnel and giving them the option of A, B, and C is
totally
the least amount of.
That's exactly what I would do.
Resistance to
me. And allow them to customize it some, so that hey, the images that you're using aren't the exact same images as the guy down the street. You're making it your brand and stuff like that, but just making that as boilerplate as possible is the way with small businesses. And then honestly, the way I start to think about it, especially in a market like the one you're talking about, if you start to get too far into the, like, we're developing these custom strategies in the marketplace that are winning and all that type of stuff, at some point or another, it makes sense for you to just take those strategies and just go into the business directly yourself. If you're thinking as an entrepreneur in terms of maximizing value, like in the cleaning business. The cleaning business is a simple, straightforward business, and really it comes down to, if you have the marketing horsepower, and as long as your service is decent, if you have the marketing horsepower to dominate, well, then you can actually build a really good sized business that actually has equity value that you could sell. If you're being like a real like entrepreneurial thinking and you really want to go for it and try and as the value, start the dang company myself, do a franchise around my.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep. Lots to digest there. So that's what I was looking for. That I was looking for real slap me in the face type stuff. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So
good. Awesome.
Right.
Well, keep me
I appreciate
posted,
it,
Brian.
Oh, I will. Have a great weekend, Mike.
Thank you. You too. All right, I know we're having some technical difficulties going in and out here. Actually, before I answer some more questions in the chat, just a reminder, I will put this link inside of the chat right now. So if anybody wants to talk to me directly like these other gentlemen have, you just use that link to join me on camera and we can have a little conversation. Okay, let me go back to questions here. Is it possible for someone to talk through the chat widget via the Lead Connector app in real time? No, there is a HighLevel is rolling out a live chat option. It is a It's different though than the chat widget that currently is what most people know, where that's a SMS based back and forth, but they are rolling out a live chat widget as well, so you could use that. Is there a limit to the number of contacts in an account? No. You could determine that you want to have a limit in the service that you're offering to your customers, but there is nothing that is that you have to do. I mean, there's nothing that is imposed by HighLevel. Okay. Sorry, Steve. Yeah, RSV, flu, and COVID are all going around like crazy. You said you could show how to set up different pricing models for different types of clients, like one set of prices for plumbers versus another set of prices for attorneys. Okay. Yeah. So this is something that people get stuck on with HighLevel. So HighLevel has the SaaS builder, right? Has the SaaS capability inside of HighLevel where you can set up these automated packages, right? Inside of HighLevel. They used to only have the ability to set up 3 packages. And now HighLevel has opened that up so that you have the ability to set up to 20 packages in that SaaS builder. Okay. So that gives you the ability then to potentially create, all kinds of different plans for different types of customers. Okay. So let me just share my screen. It's going to be a little bit hard for me to share my screen and do this well, guys, because I'm on my laptop and I don't have my big screen, but I'll give it a shot here. But if you look at the SaaS configurator here, okay, so in the SaaS configurator, you have the ability to set up, and here's standard, professional, premium, these defaults that are set up, okay? But what you can do is you hit edit details and you can determine pricing. You can determine, so like somebody was asking, is there like a limit that you can put in terms of users or contacts like Podium does? You can do that. So you can say, hey guys, for this plan, you only get up to 500 contacts, but HighLevel is not imposing that on you. You get to decide what you want to, impose on your customers. So you can create, different pricing. You can determine what features are in there. So you can just, move these things around and say, no, I don't want this turned on. I only want, such and such features turned on or off, depending on the package. You can say, does this get a trial period? For how long? How many credits do they get to use for SMS and email and stuff built into the package? What services am I rebilling for and at what profit margins? So you can determine all of this for each package, and you now have the ability right here. You can see here, add your own plans. So you can create your own plans. So there's those 3 default ones that were just in there, but you could just add whatever plan you want in there. So you can have, again, up to 20 plans in the system. And so for the plumbers, you can offer plan 6, and for the roofers, you can offer plan 10, right? So just because you have the packages available doesn't mean that you have to present them to all potential prospects, right? This is behind the scenes configurator of the system. There's no public visibility of all of this unless you decide to show it to your prospects. Hey, we have these 10 packages, right? So this is all behind the scenes. You can configure what you want to configure, right? So that's doing it using the SaaS configurator, which is what I highly recommend. But, we talked a little bit earlier about duct tape and baling wire, right? In terms of like just kind of cobbling things together. Don't think that you have to be limited by just this. So as an example, I could just say right now, hey, everybody, if you want to sign up for for $997 a month right now, go to this URL, go to this shopping cart, put in your credit card and buy this thing for $997 a month. Here's everything I'm going to give you, right? It's not through the SaaS configurator. It's just using a good old order page and $997 a month, put in your credit card, buy the thing. And then on the back end, I'm figuring out how I'm delivering that, right? I mean, that's the way it's always been done before this cool SaaS configurator that HighLevel, gave us. So just remember that you can do things the old-fashioned way, right? You still just say, hey guys, $697 a month for these things. Put in your credit card on this order page, and I'm going to take your money, and then I'm going to, figure out how I'm going to deliver it. Is it through HighLevel? Is it through something else? Is it combining these things? Turn on these features, turn off these features. It doesn't have to be through the SaaS configurator. So you can make up whatever the heck you want, and then just set up their account and turn on what you want to set up based on what you sold to them. Again, it doesn't have to be through the SaaS configurator. Now, I recommend that you do everything through the SaaS configurator that you can, because that then adds that whole degree of automation around the rebilling and access and all that stuff that makes your business just dramatically easier to run. It's going to make it more profitable. So take advantage of that as much as humanly possible. But if you run into some scenario where you're like, oh, I just can't make the SaaS configurator work the way I want it to, and it's critical to your business that you're like, I need to offer this, this package, I just can't set it up in the SaaS configurator exactly that way, you can still figure out, how to do it. Okay. I hope that helps you, wise guy. Let's see here. I don't see any follow-up for me down below. So hopefully that helps you. But if you have any follow-up, just let me know. Mike says, how do we differentiate and reconcile what customers see on your website with the SaaS pricing page, your fast store foot in the door offering, and your signature system? Okay, so this kind of goes back to what I just said, Mike. What you put on your page that is public facing is completely up to you. You don't have to show anybody publicly what you've set up in the SaaS configurator. That SaaS configurator is behind the scenes to you. So if you don't want to put that up on a page anywhere, you don't have to. So how you structure things inside of the system and how you present them publicly to the world, you need to think of, that's two completely independent things. Okay. But again, in your specific question, let's say that we are using the SaaS configurator, I can set up package one that is just my foot in the door package. It's $97 a month. It includes these things. It doesn't include any of this other stuff. And then my core system as a service is my $497 a month, and it includes all these things. Well, that's package 3 in the SaaS creator. So I've got foot in the door here, package 3, $497 core offer here. If they want to go from that 97 to this 497, it's just an upgrade in the account to go to the 97 to the 497, and they're just presented as two entirely separate things. Okay. I hope that makes sense to you. And Mike, if you're planning on coming to the boot camp, boot camp, which we'll get. I think the email already went out today. So we're doing a boot camp next week. If you're a Moguls member, you're getting access to it for free. If you're not a Moguls member, if you haven't signed up through HighLevel with me, you can do that here over the next handful of days. Join us in the boot camp next week. In the boot camp next week, I'm going to be focused on showing you how to build foot in the door offers using HighLevel that you can then upsell to, and how to set all this stuff up in detail. Okay. Awesome. Let's see here. Question about stacking offers that leverage Go HighLevel as the base. Oh wait, Mike, we already talked to. Yeah, Chrissy, I don't know. So Chase and I are supposed to talk about the agenda on this actually later today. So I should have more info for you here soon. And I asked this last week too, and I didn't have a good answer for you. Cool, Enrique, good. Let's see here. Will we use SaaS Go HighLevel via API? We will use SaaS Go HighLevel via API. So question about awaiting answers. Can we create push sub-accounts into Go HighLevel dynamically from our system, then push snapshots to those sub-accounts dynamically? Enrique, I don't know. I'm not technical enough to answer that question. My sense with HighLevel is that you can pretty much do anything that you damn well want to, as long as you have somebody who's technical enough to help create the setup of that. Like HighLevel is super, super, super flexible, and their team is super flexible. So as long as you have somebody that's on your team or that you've hired or whatever that has enough technical chops to kind of, do some coding stuff with that API, like it seems to me the answer is almost always yes, but I'm not technical enough to answer that, with accuracy. So sorry about that. Rocky says he found me through Mario Brown. That's awesome. Mario Brown, I haven't seen that guy in a while. Moved to Puerto Rico and kind of disappeared on me. The R4 framework trademarked by services at scale. Would love to put a small verb about it on the website. I mean, technically, no. And like the reason why I say that is because I've made it available for everybody to use in the community. It's essentially like open source, right? Kind of like WordPress. If you use WordPress, you can modify the heck out of WordPress and do whatever you want to with it. It's kind of the R4, but for agencies and your content. So, but yes, put a blurb about it on the website. Absolutely. How's the offer foot in the door offer fit in with the audit and the surge? Okay, Vince, let's just do an example here. Let's just say that we did a chat widget foot in the door offer. We'll set you up with a chat widget, at your business, start responding to customers and prospects faster, all that good stuff. So if it came in on that offer, there would be no audit and there would be no surge, really, right? Because that's kind of a point of a foot in the door service is we just want to make it simple to get that damn thing signed up, right? And get it up and running. So our foot in the door services, we want to keep it simple enough that we're not doing audits and surges. If that customer then, though, like you use that foot in the door to bring them in, but then in the conversation with them, you make the pitch of, yes, the chat widget is part of our overall system for carpet cleaners. Our overall system includes these 30, capabilities, and that customer says, oh yeah, we want that, right? Which a percentage of them will. 20% of people will like upgrade almost immediately. Then you would then put them into your more full sales process with the audit and the surge, right? To get them up and running on that system. So your foot in the doors, though, you want your foot in the doors to be lean, mean, fast. And that this is critical when you're designing those foot in the doors. That's key criteria for a successful foot in the door, because one, the prices are low enough that you can't spend money doing all that stuff. And then two, that you want to get that customer to feel the benefit of the service that they signed up for very quickly. Okay. Yes. Cleaning biz whiz. The fewer agency touch points you have, the easier it will be to manage 100+ clients. That is absolutely true. What's up, Brittany? Happy Friday. Happy New Year. Dorian, yeah, Bougie has a big room. That's true. He's been exposed to cold Cooch. Awesome. Cold email or Facebook ads for client acquisition, or both? It's a good question. The answer, I mean, if you have the resources and all that good stuff, the answer is always both, right? Because you're going to get certain people some ways and certain people others. If I have to choose between those two, personally, I'm going to do Facebook ads. And the reason why I say that, they're both very automated, scalable, all that type of stuff. Cold email would actually be, much cheaper. But I personally am always looking for the way to pull somebody into my funnel rather than push my way into their world. It just creates a better relationship, creates a better customer, in most cases, not in all cases, of course. But marketing by invading somebody's email inbox is annoying. It's super, super annoying. Like if I didn't ask to get an email from you and you're hitting my inbox, I'm irritated. It happens to me every day, and I just don't, look at any of them, right? So, and look, I was a cold outbound phone and email person for 10 plus years, and we were machines at it. It works. You can do it. I just think the world has changed. The world is now content marketing based. Customers now have more information. They have the ability to do research. They want to be pulled into your sales funnel versus having you push into their world and cold call them when they weren't expecting it and all that type of stuff. Like if you cold text me, like you somehow or another bot or scraped my phone number and cold text me, you are immediately on a dead list. Like I will never, ever, ever do business with you. So that's becoming more the norm, and you got to be careful with it. So for me, Facebook ads. HighLevel just released AI responses for GMB reviews. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, absolutely, Brittany. Is it possible to change the currency in the SaaS package you just showed us? I believe the currency is based on what you are currently using with your payment integration, I think. So I think the answer is yes, but you'd have to check with them. I'm not 100% sure. So on one of your videos, you said you did 320 websites in a month. How did you find the people who kind of aren't on the internet yet, or people who want to update their websites? These were all people that were on the internet. You don't want people who are not on the internet yet. You're not trying to sell this to people who don't have websites. Not to say that you couldn't, but those are not the customers you want. Because if somebody is in business today and doesn't have a website, you got to understand they're not a very good business, and they're not going to have money to spend with you. And why would you want to take them on really as a customer? So really who you're trying to sell to are businesses that know that they should have a better website, and they're probably anxious about that. And so you're giving them a killer value proposition to get that. So the way that we found those 320 people is we had a list of customers, or excuse me, a list of prospects that we had been pitching our services to already, but we had been pitching the full value proposition. And this is a major lesson when we talk about our foot in the door bootcamp next week. If all you're doing is pitching your full value proposition, you're leaving a ton of money on the table, because the full value proposition is more complicated and expensive than what a lot of people want to process. Like I don't want to sit down and hear from you about how I have to completely replace what I'm doing with a whole new system and yada yada. Like it just sounds like a pain in the ass, right? But when you send me a simple, straightforward offer that's like, we'll give you a brand new website for free, all you gotta do is pay for hosting. Okay, that sounds amazing. Simple to understand, simple to respond to. But now you turn them from a prospect into a buyer. And when you turn somebody from a prospect into a buyer, they're more likely to buy more. And so now a percentage of those people who didn't want to listen to your pitch about the full system offer now will listen to your pitch about the full system offer, because you've got their attention, you've created a relationship with them. So that's the way we did it. Is we had a bunch of people that we had already been pitching on our full system offer. We had a huge number of people who had said no or just weren't responding to us. So then we started marketing the free website offer, and it crushed it. It was almost the undoing of us, because it did so well that we really had to scramble to fulfill those websites. What would I sell the AI chatbot for as a foot in the door? 97. I love $97. But you could test even lower than that. Again, if you're testing lower than that, the thing to watch out for is what kind of customers are you getting, right? Because if you're a small business and you can't spend $97 a month, I probably don't want you as a customer, period. So, but you could test lower price points and see if that really works for you. But that I like $97 a month generally when I'm selling to businesses. Yes. Hello, Mr. Frederick Clifton. Snapshots and overwriting with STS. Could you speak on those challenges? Yeah. So snapshots the way that they work is the individual assets within the snapshot. So let's say there's an email campaign in there, and it's called Email Campaign 1. That's the name of it in the system. If you then give the customer another snapshot or an updated snapshot, and there is something in that snapshot called Email Campaign 1, it is going to want to overwrite the existing Email Campaign 1. Okay, so it looks at the name of the assets inside of the snapshot and says, hey, here's Email Campaign 1. It's already in the system. You just gave us a snapshot with Email Campaign 1. Do you want us to overwrite it? So the major lesson is that you got to pay close attention to naming, because if you want something to show up as new in the system and make sure there's no overwriting or anything like that, then the new snapshot should have new names to go along with the individual assets in there, so that when they go in, they're not going to have a chance of renaming anything, right? Also, the other major takeaway from that is let's say you're a customer of mine and you're taking my snapshot and you're downloading it, and hey, Mike is going to be updating stuff, and giving me new stuff and yada yada. You either need to make the decision of, I'm going to rename stuff once I've decided to keep it. Mike called it Email Campaign 1, but I'm going to give it a different name that's unique to me and my naming structure for my stuff at my business. So that way, when Mike gives me another snapshot, there's not going to be any overwriting of anything, because it's two totally different names now, because I've created my own naming structure for my business once I've taken the asset into my system. Okay. So you need to make a strategy. You need to have your strategy around how you're going to manage that. Okay. And then the last thing I would say is, I always tell people you should have a dummy sub account that's just for testing. So when I give you a snapshot, somebody else gives you a snapshot, whatever it is, always download things into the dummy account. Make sure you know what's in there. Make sure maybe that 85% of that stuff in that snapshot you don't need, you don't want to download. So then when you download it into your real account, you can say, hey, I only want these 15 things, right? And you know exactly what you're getting into. Always put stuff into a dummy account first. Okay. Is there a way to have how-to videos that are customized with your logo on it, or even just generic videos? Yeah. I mean, there's a number of businesses that offer like generic videos that you could use, to help your customers, like support them on how to use HighLevel. There's a number of customers. Talk to HL Pro Tools and stuff like that. They have videos that you can use. If you want to put your logo on them specifically, you probably just have to like buy or create the videos yourself, or have somebody do that for you. Okay. So you don't have to create all the videos yourself. Well, that's why those businesses like HL Pro Tools and stuff exist, is to help you with that. So I would contact one of those. But yes, there are service providers out there that are helping with that. Oh yeah, Advar, I think that's an issue with HighLevel that they have to fix. I've heard that complaint before. Sorry about that. What is the super hosting fee you're referring to for your free website offer? So Mike, the offer I've always made is that the website is free. You just have to pay us $97 for the hosting, and $97 for hosting. Some small businesses go, well, I can do $7 hosting at GoDaddy. Why is your hosting different? And so we explain to them, well, there's a couple of things that are different. One is that ours is business class hosting. We're going to make sure your website is up. GoDaddy is not going to do that. GoDaddy, you're not going to be able to reach a human being when something goes wrong. You're getting you're getting high-level support from us. We're going to be available for you to help you, all that good stuff, right? And then the second thing is that our hosting is not just hosting. What you want to do is you want to integrate that website into some of the initial valuable features of HighLevel. So as an example, just take the conversations feature in HighLevel, right? It's so valuable for small businesses. So when you're giving them this free website, you want to be making the pitch as you're giving it of, the websites that we create for you are not just pretty brochures on the internet, okay? The internet has evolved past that. Your website now needs to be a functional marketing tool. And that's what we do is we build functional marketing systems, and the website is a core part of that. So when we build your website, it's going to have a call tracking number integrated. You can do that or not if you want to. It's going to have lead capture forms. It's going to have chat widgets. And we're also going to integrate with all of your social accounts so that now anybody that interacts with your website, opts in or whatever, you're now going to see them in this conversations tab that we're going to give you access to as part of our super hosting, right? So by doing that, you're now showing them that this website is part of a marketing system. It's not just some pretty code up on the web and pretty pictures up on the web. That's going to open their eyes, right? Because again, 95% of small businesses aren't like really capturing it in their leads and stuff like that on their website. So now they're going to see, oh, geez, I have this thing that I can actually communicate with people who are coming to my website. Look, it's creating action, or I'm getting people communicating with us on our social accounts I didn't even know, and now it's all coming in here, and I can respond to them. It's creating more opportunities for me. So now that's a really nice, slick foot in the door to start selling them into more of the full system. Okay, and then in that particular scenario, what you want to do if you set up the SMS in particular as part of it, then you want to say it includes X number of credits. And then beyond that, you pay for usage beyond that. If you go beyond that, that type of thing. So again, you're selling them into the whole platform. Yep, exactly. Awesome. Enrique says, I'm on a trial account. Is there a location where I can find a complete list of products, services currently available on HighLevel? Enrique, the answer is, unfortunately, I think no. This is something that they have not done a good job of. I wish there was. Happily wish you a great new year, health and prosperity. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. And you as well. Vincent says, when developing a foot in the door offer, should I give customers access to the CRM, i.e. AI chatbot, web travelers, or new responsive website? What's your advice in this scenario? Yeah, I think Vincent, to me, yes. To me, if you open up my, let me get my service designer real quick. I have that pulled up here. Yeah, well, let me pull up my service design document. And let's take a look at that real quick. And I'll just show you kind of some of my philosophy on this, right? Is if you look at these packages and you look at the top there, this second bar horizontally, CRM, opportunity pipeline management, universal inbox, that's the conversation tab, reporting, task management. So these are, and there's some other things that we could add to this. But to me, these are like these core features that I think everybody should have access to. So even if you're just setting up as a foot in the door, why not give them access to those things? Why not give them a bigger value proposition that if they start using it, it just pulls them into your system, right? It just makes it even that much stickier. So yeah, CRM, opportunity pipeline management, universal inbox. Again, that's a conversations tab. I mean, and there's a number, like I said, there's a number of other things that you could do there. But to me, don't skimp, right? Give them the features that are going to help them see just more value proposition and just get pulled further into working with you. Yeah. It would be helpful if the office hours past stream showed a topic list of items discussed. Yes, we are going to do that, Jeff. In fact, we are hiring somebody to go through them all for us. And the beauty is now with AI, right? If you pull up the video, I can just hit the AI summarizer and it pulls up a nice list of everything that was covered. And I just copy and paste that right into the video. So yes, we will absolutely do that for you. Just wondering, when you guys were giving away the websites, were you using Go HighLevel? No, we did not. And we charged $97 a month for the hosting. No, Go High Level did not exist when I first started doing that. I was just doing it on WordPress. Is the fast start package price on page 1 and the basic plan price point on page 2 additive or inclusive? Fast start price package on page 1, the basic plan price points on page 2. Where are you looking, Mike? I'm not sure exactly what you're looking at. If you can show me what you're looking at, tell me what you're looking at, I can give you a better answer. Jeff, thank you. Awesome. Looks like we're coming to the end of our questions, which is good timing because we're coming at the end of my time too. But if there's any last minute questions anybody wants to fire in there, I see Rez is coming on. Rez, I'll get you on here real quick before we wrap up. Right now, Rez, I'm not seeing. Oh, there you are. Cool. Let me add you in here. How you doing, sir?
I'm very well. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Great. Yeah, great. Good to see you again.
Awesome. Yeah, I was hesitant to come on just because, but you said a couple of things that sparked some curiosity. So obviously when we last spoke, it was kind of more along the lines of how to leverage the existing infrastructure to transition into the new blue ocean that is obviously digital. You mentioned something about Russell Brunson and how he's kind of created this ecosystem, right? The difficulty I'm having is like, I really like business in general, and I see the application of a lot of the things that you've said, and we know that Go High Level can do. And if you come a step above it, just basic strategy and marketing prowess that unfortunately evades majority of small business owners. And I want the difficulty is like, of course, I'm in fitness, so the natural progression would be in fitness because that's kind of like the ecosystem that I'm known for. However, like I was thinking the other day, like I've got a friend who's an architect who works for a huge firm, but he also does a lot of independent work. Now, he's an incredible architect. He's got no clue about lead management and marketing, etc. So to me, like architects per job, I know what he does, right? He quotes quite big projects because he only works with affluent property owners. But you're talking about potentially, if you're able to help him in that process, you're talking about the average job value being in excess of 10, 15, 20,000. But it's architecture. And then I've got other people around me in my sphere that are doing various different industries. So is it a mistake to kind of get dragged? Because I know last time we spoke, it was kind of like trying to not overcomplicate. And I'm very, very conscious of that. Hence why I'm probably thinking a little bit too much rather than just jumping in and just trying to do everything. So I was wondering, with that said, the Russell Brunson thing makes sense because you can kind of enter in the current ecosystem fitness, foot in the door, build some ecosystem, and then on sell the higher tiers, right? With leadership being at the top, as you mentioned. So it's just the access and strategies and go up from there. I don't know if I'm articulating that in the best manner.
Yeah, I mean, but are you asking, should you do that? Do you want to do that? Like, is that what you're saying? Hey, I'm considering doing this as my business model, and I need to make a decision around that. What are those factors? Yeah,
of course. It's more like a case of like, do I kind of go broad and take the principles of marketing and apply it across the board, that regardless of sectors? Given that, of course, like I don't know the first thing about architecture necessarily, but I do understand marketing, sales, and advertising. Do I do that, which is completely separate from the business, which kind of in a weird way is diversifying? Or do you kind of double down and do the Russell Brunson kind of model that does appeal because there is a ladder into it?
Yeah. So, I mean, it can absolutely be both, which may not be the answer that you want to hear, because is there a right or wrong? It really depends on your goals. So let me explain to you how I would think about it. And then you can take that and maybe it helps you. But so Dan Kennedy, who a lot of us learned, back in the day from, like, he was like the origin of a lot of us thinking about doing information marketing, content marketing, all that type of stuff. So one of the things that Dan Kennedy always taught was that you should have your business, and then that you should have your business about your business, and that your business about your business was the thing that was actually probably going to make you much more money. And he was right, right? So if I start a cleaning business tomorrow, and my cleaning business maybe does $1 million here in San Diego, but I figured out an ad campaign that was the thing that made it so I could go from 500,000 to $1 million. I could go out and sell that ad campaign and sell coaching around that ad campaign and stuff to tens of thousands of other cleaners around the world and probably make millions a year by doing that, right? So much more money than I'm actually making for my cleaning business. So information is super, super scalable when you package it up like that. So you can take, if you are good at taking what you learned and turning it into frameworks, so that you could take that knowledge and teach it to people in a variety of different industries, then you can kind of build that business about your business. That the nice thing about that is that they're two separate businesses. So the reason why for me personally, that's been very, very valuable in the past is that I've sold other businesses. I've shut down other businesses, but I've still always had my training and information marketing business. That's a great business. And so I've had years where this business, I wasn't, I sold it or it, I was having a real hard time or whatever. And I still have this business and it's providing me a bunch of cash flow so that I can still have a real nice life. So the nice thing is that separation of kind of church and state there. The alternative is if we talked about this a little bit previously on our other call, but like if you said, hey, Mike, I really want to build this equity monster to exit at 50 million bucks, then in that case, you probably want to build all of this together so that the future buyer sees all of that potential and all that revenue all integrated into a single business and how you're serving that community and all that stuff. Because then that probably maximizes the value of that asset that you're eventually going to sell, right? So it really kind of just depends on what your personal goals are and how you're thinking about your life here over the next 5-10 years, and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, it's a very good point. It's funny because I spoke to my own mentor who I had the sub account with, and I asked him, and he said the same thing. He goes, "You can kind of do whichever one you want because, fortunately or unfortunately, as I said last time, your business first, fitness second, so you can kind of go into anything." And I think
that's fortunately. That's not unfortunately. That's fortunately.
Yeah, of course.
That's a great thing.
Probably tongue in cheek in some sense, but like he kind of said the same thing as you said. It just depends on what do I want, and I think I'm struggling with that a little bit. But I do think I know like you can always pivot. Once you've taken action, is just inaction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very conscious is probably the biggest
killer.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, it's valuable to just bounce people some thoughts with you, because even the Dan Kennedy thing, the business about the business, I really like that, and I think there may be some remnants of COVID for a lot of us service industry guys because everything got kind of taken away. So there is an aspect
100%.
of not doubling down on that side. But obviously that's short term.
100%. Yeah, I mean, look,
sure.
if you say, hey, Mike, I want to be a scrappy lifestyle entrepreneur for the rest of my life, I know it, which is that's me. I want to be a scrappy lifestyle entrepreneur for the rest of my life. I'm not trying to build the next public company. I don't care about that. To me, it makes sense to have multiple assets going at all times. It gives me stability, security. And then I still, just the way that I could hear your thinking there, I still have all the upside. So let's just say the answer for you is both. Let's do both. You're developing these frameworks and you're going to develop coaching around that. And so you peel that off and you start doing it. You're going to use those same frameworks and all the coaching systems and infrastructure and stuff to offer coach to your current fitness people too. So if you have the energy and time, to do both. And then if at some point or another you say, this thing isn't working the way I want it to, I'll shut that down. And you say, this thing is on fire, I'll focus on that. I mean, whatever, you go with it and go where the opportunity is. But if the decision is really like, well, which one is better, they're almost the exact same offer. And so why not just do both and see how it turns out?
Right. That's what I was thinking, because by building a business about your business, you can always you can channel it into anything, right? And then you can kind of assess, hypothetically speaking, let's say architecture is like the niche that just blows off and is or whatever, like it.
Yep.
You can kind of, it's like a magnifying glass that you can kind of channel onto it to anything that you're doing. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Mike, thanks for your time, man. I know you've been on here for a while. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it as always.
That's what it's here for. I appreciate you being here.
Do you know the boot camp, what day is on? Or will we get an email?
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and then UK time, will it be around this sort of time?
It will be 2 hours later, I think. Let me see. It starts at 1 p.m. Yeah, so 2 hours later.
Then now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It will start 15 minutes from now.
9 p.m.
is when it will start. Yeah.
It'll be a late one. Cool.
You're young.
Awesome.
You're young. You can do it. You got energy.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thanks for your time, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. I'm going to go through a handful of these. I see some cleanup questions here. What is the purpose of the lead magnet and the birthday marketing snapshot when you have sales pages? What's the purpose of the lead magnet and the birthday marketing snapshot when you have sales pages? Joseph, maybe send me a message to help directly, and let me go through and just make sure I understand what you're saying there. I'm not 100% sure. If you could send an email there, I will make sure I dig into that and give you an answer. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking there. Hey, Jimmy, good to see you, sir. No, I will not be at TNC. I think when deciding on a niche, we don't focus enough on the size of the niche and the ease of contacting owners. Yes, Jeff, I 1000% agree with that. Ease of contacting owners is important. Mike, focus on your why. That's all right. Happy New Year, real quick. Work on TSD model. How would Go High Level help with that? By the way, thanks for the office hours. Yeah, absolutely. How does Go High Level work with the TSD model? Well, I run their San Diego on Go High Level. I mean, my website is a WordPress website that's not hosted on HighLevel, just because I've always had that separate for long before HighLevel existed. My newsletter is still being done through GoodBits and MailChimp, although HighLevel is now getting to the point where I could do that just through HighLevel. But I use HighLevel as my CRM, as my pipeline management, for setting up all my landing pages, for marketing all my events, for selling tickets to all my stuff, for selling my service packages. I mean, everything. So, I use HighLevel to run my own businesses. Everything that I'm doing as an entrepreneur at this point is on HighLevel. Okay. Working on Mike, mindful of not just being another guru and actually having a fully developed offering. I think that's great. I do. I think that's great. And I think that, just the fact that you're being mindful of it is good, and at some point or another, as you know, it's all about just taking action and some of the assumptions you made, some of the things that you think are going to work, not going to work. They're not, they're going to be opposite of what you thought. And that's the entrepreneurship game, right? Riches are in the niches, they say, and I've chosen wellness as my niche, but with an initial focus on physical therapy. So is wellness too broad or a smart move long-term? Vincent, I think that's a smart move. I think it's a smart move. I mean, the fact that you've already niched down to physical therapy says, okay, I see that there could be risks in being too broad in terms of the tactical execution of it, at least initially. But I think that by having that bigger umbrella positioning and then going after physical therapists to start, I think that's great. just, gives you the option to kind of expand beyond that at some point if you want to, because I think that there's a lot of service providers there that are, they're similar. Anybody can integrate phone burner to go high level? I do not, Mike. I don't personally know anybody to help you with that. Sorry. And then somebody's asking about the packages here. Hold on. Was that you, Mike? Who was that? Hold on. Videos. Oh yeah, that was you, Mike. Fast start package price on page 1. The basic line. Okay, is additive or inclusive? So let me just make sure I am explaining it properly. So, it is it additive or inclusive? I'm not sure exactly how I should answer this. Let me just explain it here. If you go down to these packages, basic, pro, and premium, okay, this includes, actually, that's not a great example. Okay, this one, foundation, acceleration, domination. Okay, so this is all reputation and resell. And then this is a separate set of features and a separate price point. Okay, so let's say this one you were charging $297. This one you're charging $297, so it would be plus the $297. Okay. Now, do you give them a discount because they're buying both of them? Maybe. The way I always did it was that if you signed up for all 3, you got a discount. And I'm trying to make it a no-brainer to sign up for all 3. Okay. But that is not necessarily always the case in all of these packages. So if you look at the basic, pro, and premium, okay, this is all of the same features, and the only difference in the price point is how many credits are included and how many team members have access. Okay, so it's all the exact same stuff. This one is $297 to $497, but you get these credits and these team members. This is $497 to $697, but you get these credits and these team members. Okay. Fast start. Okay, so fast start you were asked about specifically. So this is $297 to $497. You get all this stuff. Okay. If you then go and you signed up for, so if you then went and signed up for, I'm just trying to think, like, because these are meant to be, kind of, what is it, like, am I saying the right word, templates, for you to take and modify. So if I were personally out selling this fast start package, and then I had my other packages, so I then had a basic, pro, and premium, I would have a different price point between this fast start and this basic. Okay, so let's say my fast start was $197, and then I would say, well, for $297, you get all of these other features that are included in here as well. So only $100 more, you get all this great stuff, right? So maybe this fast start would even just be like $97 a month or something like that, and I would lower these credits, because my fast start in this case is really a foot in the door. Okay, so I hope that helps you. I mean, you can play with that and customize that however you want in terms of how you're pitching things. Okay, awesome, everybody. Look, I have to run. Thank you so much for being here. Happy New Year. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. But maybe, since we just got done with the holidays, use the weekend to get some work done so that you're kicking ass, you're flying fast, going into the new year here, so that you can really feel like you're off to the races. I know what I'm going to do. I'm super fired up to get back to work. Like I said, this is really my first full day. I'll be working this weekend. So I'll be getting back to you on some of this stuff. If you guys have any questions, email them in, and we'll get it done. Okay. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the community. I always appreciate you. And thank you for attending these calls and giving me some of your time on your Friday. I hope that is valuable for you, and we will see you on the next one. All right. Take care, everybody.